thirsty riding a skateboard. Me too. This is a job for Kool-Aid. Hey, Kool-Aid!
Oh yeah, Kool-Aid's here, bringing you fun. Kool-Aid's got thirst on the run. Get a big, wide, happy ear.
And here's Kool-Aid's fun smile. Tastes great. Our friend's cool. Our friend's Kool-Aid.
Think I'll go for a walk outside now. The summer sun's calling my name. I hear you now, I just can't stay inside all day. I gotta get out, give me some of those rays. Everybody's smiling, sunshine day. Everybody's laughing, sunshine day. Everybody sings. So
hey, what's up? It's Captain Mike M. Welcome to episode 156 of the Gamers in Beta podcast, a.k.a. the Kool-Aid Hour. Xbox is awesome. PlayStation 4 sucks. Is that what you wanted to hear this week, Indio Techno? GTFO, motherfucker. Who's joining me tonight?
Oh, that would be me, Jay, Maniac 17, and I've been drinking the Kool-Aid too, and I'm just finished washing my nose, get all the brown shit off from following Phil Spencer around too much. Well, I believe we also have Joe State with us.
That is correct. Joe State here, and I had an encounter where I almost had to knock out a derelict woman for yelling gibberish in my daughter's face today. But luckily I was able to divert into just cussing her the fuck out. And we're all good now.
And I'm Corey Howard, features editor for BagoGames.com, and me and these guys are about to cast some pod all over the internet's face, but we're going to give it a towel after, because that's the kind of guys we are.
Yes. So I'm basking in the post-Game of Thrones glow. I won't give out any spoilers, but it was epic. Also enjoying a nice Father's Day. Hopefully all the fathers on the show, all of us, including Jay, who's a grandfather, had a glorious day. Anybody want to share any Father's Day stories today?
Well,
anybody have anything exciting when they woke up? I woke up to a donut and a culotta from Dunkin' Donuts. How about you guys?
I woke up to a granddaughter playing and having fun and giggling with glee, which woke me up, so it's always nice to be woken up to laughing instead of screaming. And
screaming? What usually happens in that house?
You know how 4-year-olds, 3 and 4-year-olds, you know, those terrible twos that actually don't really usually hit till 3 or 4, so... But I woke up to laughing this morning, and then I came out, and I played, because Portal 2 is now backwards compatible, I played that most of the day, and my granddaughter likes watching it, and my wife doesn't mind watching it because it's kind of entertaining and funny, so I just sat down and played that most of the day while they barbecued and brought me beers, and I didn't even get off the couch, and it's the first day in probably 4 days that my knee hasn't bothered me, so it was a great Father's Day.
Your knee, it was the back last week, the knee this week? What's going on?
I think the knee is causing a back issue because I'm favoring my leg, so...
See, what happened was Jay used to be an explorer like us, you know, but he took that arrow to the knee.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was a slide.
What about Joe? Anything else besides your little verbal war of words today?
So we went downtown, which explains why there was a crazy derelict woman. And, we went down there, and I did not realize that it was, like, Pride weekend, so unfortunately there was a bunch of, like, awkward bodies running around with dangly bits just in their underwear, and I was just like, oh, this is awkward. But we ended up getting a pretty good lunch, had, like, traditional Mexican food, only, you know, vegan. So... That was awesome, and then...
That was a gorilla-free sandwich, right?
No gorilla. Yeah, it was all soy curls. We didn't have to shoot a gorilla at all for that.
Oh, you got to try the gorilla, though. It's so good. It's so good.
And Corey, how about you?
I woke up to a 2-year-old yelling, "Daddy presents!" And I got a coffee mug and a T-shirt and some cool... dad stuff, and I just had a typical dad day. You know, went to the playground with the kiddo, hung out with her all day, got to play Ark while she was napping. So I had a pretty good day too.
Nice.
And you're getting ready to move, so you must be dealing with boxes as well.
I am. Our house looks like shit, and it's terrible because everything is packed away. So we're like living on nothing, and we're trying to get the fridge empty. So actually, next episode, I'm again not going to be here because I will be literally moving boxes, which will suck. So,
understandable. I had a pretty decent day myself. Like I said, I woke up pretty late. I was up late last night gaming, and I'll get into that later. But I woke up late, and then we went to my aunt's house for a barbecue, where I got to see my old man and my grandfather, who, was probably just as important, if not as important as my old man in raising me. He's got some great old school values that probably were lost on me, but sometimes I try to retain them. He's 95, still kicking around, so it's always good to see him. I treasure every moment that I get to spend with him. So that was awesome, and I had lots of beer and food and enjoyed the kids running around, so no complaints whatsoever. So while Joe and Corey were absent the last week or so, we did a shitload of E3 podcasting. I'm not sure if you two guys caught that or not, but wanted to catch up with you guys and see what your impressions were from E3. Certainly lots of announcements, lots of non-announcements. And then you also sort of had to pay attention on the side to all these other shows that were going on, whether on YouTube or Xbox and things like that, where they were revealing other games that were not, prime-time show-worthy. So certainly lots of stuff to catch up on. Let's start with you, Joe. Anything that was, groundbreaking or really caught your eye or disappointed you? Either way.
Well, first, I just want to say you guys did a great job covering those shows.
Oh,
yes. Totally agreed.
Thanks to everybody that helped out with that while Corey and I weren't able to be on the shows and everything. So, what is that? Games on the Mind, and then Jeremy from Dad's Getting Grounded, right?
Yep, and Devious Mr. Matt.
Oh, that's right, Devious Mr. Matt. He was quiet, though. He was real quiet.
Yeah, you might have missed him on that episode.
He was quiet.
But, so I was able to watch it on day 2, where the big conferences were, and then I was able to catch some of the Bethesda one as well. And what was cool is this year, since I work at home and everything, I was, doing all my work and everything, but I had the computer on in the background, and I was able to talk with you on Steam chat, and then I was in the Future Monkeys hangout, and so it was basically I just got to talk to everybody about what was going on as it was going on, and so that was a fun way to experience E3 this year, so I dig it.
Yep.
But I kind of threw things into categories here that I'm just going to briefly touch on.
Look at this man. He's
my categories are things I don't give a fuck about, things I'm curious about, and things I'm stoked on. So I'm going to start...
Wait a second. I don't mean to cut you off, but this isn't the hot seat right now. Oh, go ahead.
So things I don't give a fuck about would be Watch_Dogs 2. And that's because Watch Dogs is pretty much the worst game that's come out in the last 5 years and really doesn't deserve a sequel. And I was really hoping that they would have just shot that dog and left it in the fucking dirt.
Oh, everybody hates Watch Dogs. I feel like I'm the only one who liked that game.
Well, I feel the same about the evil within, so don't worry. Scalebound looked really unimpressive.
Scaly.
And, I'm not an Xbox player anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter, but then I watched it and I was like, that's what Xbox is touting? Losers.
More like scale board, am I right?
Yeah. But you can play on your PC.
Norbound.
Oh, even better.
Xbox Slim. Congrats on your misleading advertising, Microsoft. Really proud of you for that.
Lots of podcasts have been mentioning that. I'm glad we weren't the only ones that seemed to be duped on that. It definitely was shady advertising on the show.
For sure. And
they still haven't filled it in yet. The information for a release date for the 500 and the 1.
I'm also not impressed that you got an internal power supply. I mean, that's not really new technology that's been going on in all the PlayStations for a long time, buddies. Yeah, let my fanboy show right there. I did not give a fuck about Bethesda and Nintendo dragging on forever with their conferences with certain sections, like the Pokemon one. And I like Pokemon, but Jesus Christ,
that was brutal.
Just let Nintendo? It go. Yeah.
I didn't even watch that one.
Well, it wasn't really a press conference. It was a treehouse thing.
Yeah.
Right.
So to set the scene, they had this one lady asking questions to the developers who were Japanese speakers, and so they had a translator. So you have that whole, that process delays things just naturally as it is. But they asked a lot of questions.
Yeah, and
then they went into like gameplay where some other guy started to play, and she asked questions over that. It went on for a long time.
The gameplay went on for way too long. And, it's a Pokemon game. They're not really that complex. You're not really introducing that much to it. So do you really need a half an hour of sitting down and talking about that? Probably not.
Well, no, for somebody who doesn't care. Like, I agree. I don't care at all about Pokemon. I missed it as far as my generation goes. But, that's a pretty big franchise for them now. Like,
well, I do like Pokemon, and I've played pretty much every Pokemon iteration since the originals. It's just, you're not introducing any new content. You don't need a half an hour. Just do quick hits and move on, because that was just like trudging through it. It was real slow and real boring.
Yeah, I was glad that I wasn't there for it live. I got to watch it like an hour later, so I could skip all that stuff. I was pretty happy about that.
Yeah, Ubi was just horrible.
Ugh.
Yeah, that went on about close to 2 hours.
Yeah, it was 2 hours, and it could have been an hour easily.
Yeah, that was also pretty bad. The PC gaming show was a straight-up shit show.
I can't even find it to watch it.
Don't bother, because it's terrible.
Really?
2 years in a row now, right?
So bad. They had some guy called Day 2 or some number after Day, and he was not a he was just not a very good host. Day 9, yeah.
Yeah.
He was not a good host. The people they had an entire montage that was dedicated to the mouse and keyboard.
Wait, just as a controller scheme?
Yeah.
It
was
that's hilarious.
Yeah, it was really bad. It was not worth watching. I looked for other things to watch, and I ended up looking for an Overwatch stream, and ended up finding some guy that was basically just shilling out vape. He's like, "Oh man, I can hook you up with an intermediate starter rig for vaping if you're interested in it." I was like, "Oh no, what did I just tune into?" So, overall, that entire hour of my life, it was not good on the internet.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Finally, last thing is ukulele. I don't care. Who needs another Banjo-Kazooie game? Just move on. It's outdated. You're not adding anything to it. As for things I'm curious about the new God of War game.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying like I'm gonna jump head first into this, be like, yes, God of War, it's gonna be the best thing ever, because they are making a lot of changes. I want to see how it's gonna play out. It looks pretty huge, It looks pretty great. It looks like they mixed in a lot of Dark Souls into God of War, though, which is kind of weird. So I definitely want to know a little bit more about it before I'm just like, let's buy it.
Now, how do you guys stand on this? I heard the Guerrilla podcast, Dad's Getting Grounded, talking about their Guerrilla radio show that they got going on over there, and they were talking about how God of War. I think Christian was saying, how dare they change the franchise? It's not, this Last of Us type, Naughty Dog story. It's all about button mashing and his chains and things like that. Do you guys feel like it's okay to change up a big franchise like that at some way through and try something different, or do you want the same old, AC/DC record every couple of years?
If you have a franchise, you're always going to run into that problem. People are going to bitch at you if you change it all. People are going to bitch at you if you're not iterative, or if you don't add anything new to the series. You're damned if you do, if you're damned if you don't. Especially if you're making a video game, because gamers are entitled.
For sure. It's funny you mention that, because I just wrote an article for the GamersInBeta.com website.
I never heard of it.
In regards to the Resident Evil teaser that just came out, and it's kind of the same thing, like that is not your cookie cutter run of the mill Resident Evil style of game, and I'm kind of in the seat where I'm like, wow, I really love Resident Evil. I've been playing it forever. But, it is kind of getting stale. I'm glad that they're switching things up, but, I wish they would have included some of the more prevalent tropes from the series and implemented them to where it feels natural, but not necessarily just fan service. I don't know. It's a really fine line that you have to walk. And honestly, if they're just making a good game, I'm fine with it. I don't care if it's the exact same thing as what was there before, or if it's something completely new.
Yep. Just give me a good game. I don't care how they serve it to me, right?
Exactly. And then Death Stranding, Kojima's new game. Curious about that. It looks pretty nuts, but I don't care about Norman Reedus at all. But
What about the baby he births on that beach?
yeah, I'm fine with him birthing a baby and every single thing there having an umbilical cord.
And oil, so much oil.
So much oil. I don't know.
I'm glad you said oil. I was on a podcast the other day where they didn't use the word oil, and then they put baby after it.
Anyways. Also, Tekken 7, which I thought was totally just Tekken Cross Street Fighter. But, yeah, it's just Tekken 7, right? And they just put Akuma in there.
Yep.
And that I'm curious about. I want to see how well they implement a new Tekken game, if they're able to really pull it off, because the last couple Tekken games weren't that hot. And that's the last
Zero
now,
interest.
Oh, go ahead.
Now, would you say, Nick was on the show saying that the Tekken series is maybe more of a technical fighter than Street Fighter? And someone else, chimed in and said, no, maybe Street Fighter, because they have the tournaments and things like that, would be more of a technical fighter or more established in the esports world. What's your feeling on that?
So, oh man, it's really, so Street Fighter in recent years has definitely become more and more technical because they're adding, what do you call them? Oh, I can't even think of the words right now, but basically where you fake out your moves and you cancel and you go into another move and you have counters and they have different energy levels that you can use. So, I don't know, they've definitely added a ton of complexity to Street Fighter over the years, and so I would definitely say that it is pretty technical. But, Tekken back in the day was certainly more technical. Then that's all I'm really curious about. The rest of the stuff I'm pretty stoked on. So, seeing We Happy Few for the first time,
Yeah.
I was pretty darn stoked on that. That left a huge impression on me, and I definitely see what you guys have been talking about for that long.
Yeah, my opinion is wavering on this pretty hard, only because it's going to be in early access for 6 to 9 months. And I really want to play this game. Obviously, the way we've covered it and talked about it, I want it. But I don't know if I want to wait 6 to 9 months while other people are playing it. Do I want to play it while it's in early access and enjoy all that and then see the final product? I'm trying to decide what I want to do there.
Yes,
Yeah,
you do.
I think that early access is a poor decision, but that's
I
just
don't think
me.
so.
I think it
Just put the game out final. Just put the final game out.
I think it has the potential for people to go in and play, and they'll get their fill of it, and then not play it later down the road. However, I don't know if it's really hurting them, because you're still paying for the game in early access, and if you get as much as you want, that's fine. And then you don't play it again, that's fine. They got their money, and you got to play early, and you played as much as you want. Or if you like the game a lot, and you can continue to play when they complete it.
You don't get everything. You don't get a campaign. There's going to be no campaign in early access, is what I was told when I got to play it at PAX. Like, you're going to be able to play the roguelike, you're going to be able to play the survival game, but the actual campaign, the real story, you're not going to be able to play until the game finally releases. That's what I was told at PAX.
The full game.
That's cool.
As a backer, I get the latest update that I got, which was maybe a week ago, sometime this week. They did mention something about story. They will have an end to the beta or early access part of the story, but what it's going to be is it's not really an end. It's just a section to kind of give you that feeling of completion, yet it leaves you hanging. It's kind of a lull in the story where they're going to end it there to make it so that when you continue on, you still you have the early access story, and then it continues on and goes through until you get to the real ending. So,
well, Jay, I know this is the Sunshine Days podcast, the Kool-Aid Hour, but sometimes people could buy into early access and not have the same experience as you, where they don't like it, and so
that's
you
valid.
say, where they don't have their money, but still, they can come back and play it if they like it. But I guess it could backfire as, hey, I just fucking paid $20 for this game and it was goddamn fucking broken. Avoid it.
Well, those people are fucking dumb. They don't know what early access means.
That's a problem.
If you buy early access, that means the game's not finished. You're essentially volunteering to be their beta testers, and you can give them feedback, and it makes the game better. The more people play it, the more people that give feedback makes these games better. So to buy a game that's not finished, that they totally are upfront about and say it's not finished, and then complain that it's broken and not finished, that's a stupid, it's a dumb consumer. Buyer beware. That drives me nuts when people do that shit.
Okay.
That's like opting into a beta on a console for the new UI and bitching about it, right?
Yes. Have I heard that before? So what else you stoked with besides We Happy Few?
Resident Evil 7 being VR capable from start to finish.
Mm-hmm. Now, you've played the... Go ahead. Well, I was going to say you played the demo.
Yeah.
And your impressions are up on Gamers in Beta. But for people who don't like to read and just like to hear things, quickly, what's your impressions of the demo?
I find it, pretty positive. It's definitely taken a lot of inspiration from PT.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, whether or not that's a detriment to the series or not, it's really hard to say because, this is supposed to be a standalone thing, I guess. And I'm not sure whether or not the actual Resident Evil is going to be even a first-person game or not.
Now, Jay, why were you going meh?
It's weird that they put out the game and then they tell you that this doesn't reflect what the actual game will be. So,
well, PT was the same thing.
Well, I know that, but
it's called a teaser, a standalone teaser.
A playable teaser, if you will.
A playable trailer, right.
I think it's just mostly a tech demo where they're showing you the tension that they're able to build.
Yeah.
And the kind of scares that they're able to deliver with that kind of scenario.
And I say Matt because I didn't get a chance to play it this weekend because of time constraints and playing other games.
Gotcha.
I was very surprised to see that Resident Evil tag at the end of that trailer. Like, I thought, of course, horror game, VR, but I did not expect Resident...
Because it was in first person, right? And just the tone of it and the way it looked, it just didn't look like a past Resident Evil game.
Exactly.
Yeah, nothing about it said Resident Evil. Even like the original Resident Evils, it was like a schlocky horror movie, It was like dogs jumping through windows, jump scares. Nothing, psychological. That looked more, if anything, it looked more like a Silent Hill.
Yeah. In VR, I don't like these games that they take and they say, okay, we're going to take this game and it's the same game. We're not going to do a lot of changes to it and it'll be playable in VR or you can play it just normal. I don't think those generally transfer over well. Again, don't have...
Now, what do you think? Now, what about Fallout?
Fallout, they're redoing so that you're going to be playing in it and it's going to be... There'll be a VR Fallout version and then there'll be, then we also have a regular one, so they're actually going to be updating it for VR. If there's a difference there, in this one, I don't know if there is. I think it's just kind of playable. I mean, the way they described it, it sounds like it's just like a lot of the other stuff, like for Sony VR, is you can play any game in it, but it's kind of, in theater mode. Is this one just not going to be theater mode? You'll be able to look around? Is it going to work?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but they didn't say they're going to update Fallout 4. I mean, it's going to be on VR, but I'm pretty sure they've just said it's Fallout 4 coming to VR, right? Or maybe
they said they are updating it to be a VR experience so that when you're looking around, like when you go to look at your Pip-Boy, you will actually move your arm and twist your arm and to look at your arm to look at your Pip-Boy.
Yeah, but that doesn't make it a different game. That just makes it Fallout 4 for VR. Like that's what I expect.
It makes it a VR version, not just kind of looking through... first person. So I guess I don't know. That's kind of how I looked at it. I kind of look at it. It seems like a little different to me.
Mm-hmm.
So
go ahead.
I'm kind of wondering if the actual Resident Evil 7 game is going to be in first person or not, because I have not actually seen the confirmation.
Right.
I know that on the Oculus there's a game. It's called Chronos. And it actually uses the fixed camera like Resident Evil games have. And you're able to just kind of like use that vantage point and look around the map from that fixed area. Like like you're able to twist your head and see VR. A little bit more to the left. Yeah, in VR on Oculus.
So it's like you're like taped up against the wall like a security camera. That's kind of cool.
Kind of, yeah. And if you lean forward, you can get a little bit closer, or to the right, you can see a little bit more to the left, etc. So it's different, and it looked like a pretty cool proof of concept watching the gameplay that I've seen of Chronos. And so, yeah, I honestly think that would be pretty cool for a Resident Evil game. So we'll see.
Yeah. I'm curious to hear people's, when they get VR in their hands, and certainly the Oculus, and Christ, I have it sitting next to me in a box.
Wait for the card to come back, right?
Shut up and take my money.
I'm waiting for something, Jay, all right? I don't know what, but I'm waiting for something. And, I'm just, when these full-fledged everybody's like, well, it's just an experience. This is just a demo. This is just this. Well, I want those people to come back to me and say, oh, geez, my neck's sore. I just played 8 hours of Resident Evil on the headset, and now I'm all sore, and I'm at the doctor's office. Has anybody come back and said, hey, I've played VR for a marathon gaming session?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, so I won't.
I listened to Tested, and they early on they weren't able to play for extended period of time.
They had to build up their tolerance, like physically.
No, it was the games.
Really?
The quality of the games just wasn't up there, and they were playing on like DK2 for Oculus, which still wasn't up to snuff. But now the newest ones, you listen to them talk about a lot of the VR now, and they say they're in there, they're immersed, they'll play for hours now, and it's not an issue with some of the better quality games, the ones that don't make you sick. So
I feel like I have to build up like a physical tolerance because it's going to be hot.
Yeah.
You're breathing, and then just a sensation of like who's watching me while I play.
Well, it's kind of like when you're playing and you're using your headphones and you're in a warm room. That's uncomfortable because they get all sweaty and stuff. So
yeah,
probably want an air conditioned room, and all that because you are going to run into that.
Anytime I've ever played it, they've all been demos at like cons and stuff. I think the longest I've played something in VR was maybe 15 minutes. And sometimes as short as 2. I've never taken the headset off and not been like a gross, sweaty mess. I'm just like, oh my god, my face is disgusting.
Yeah. That's why every time I'm hearing people say, oh, it's just a demo, I'm just like, will you shut the hell up about that? You don't even know if you could sit down for 3 hours on end with the damn thing on your head.
Yeah, but I better be able to if I'm paying $400 fucking bucks for it.
Yeah,
that's 4. Jesus.
Well,
that's I definitely like I've said before, I've said it on Twitter a lot. I just don't think that PlayStation VR is going to be up to snuff. I think that is going to be a bad experience.
And again, we want to have some clarity here. You're basing this off of your own personal
Vive,
experience.
Oculus, and all them have proven, and just like I said, like the DK2 did not work that well. As well, because they still had some issues, and they figured out what was causing the motion sickness for people, and a lot of that was the fact that they needed 90 frames per second for it to prevent motion sickness. There are also some things sometimes you need to have, within the game itself or the experience that you're playing. You need to have something that you can focus on that keeps you from getting nauseous and stuff, because you're not moving around, but you're seeing that you're moving around. So when you have something static in the room, it helps to do that. There's a lot of these things that they figured out how to do. And the main thing was the 90 frames per second. Well, you're putting out an HD, 2 HD screens that you have to fill in at 90 frames per second. You really think a PS4 is going to be able to do that? Which they've already said it doesn't. It barely does. It's supposed to do 60. And
no, but I don't think the average consumer is going to know all the stuff that you just threw out there either.
No, and that's why I'm trying to put it out there so people are educated with it and realize, I really think that the Sony VR could turn a lot of people from VR. You get sick once off of it and you're going to be like, I'll never do VR again. It doesn't matter if there's a good VR experience out there, That's like taking those bus stations.
I wish the same people that use drugs and alcohol and cigarettes had the same theory that you just had about VR. Because then we'd have a lot more cleaner people in the world, right?
Well, I have those same theories. Yeah. I resent that as a drug, alcohol, cigarette user.
Hey,
So, next up...
So many people.
Now that I've dragged us off the rails again.
Next up was Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yes.
That gameplay looked pretty awesome. It looked like a mix between Monster Hunter, Witcher, and the aesthetic of kind of like enslaved Odyssey to the West.
Yeah, that is a very good description of it, I think.
The only warning I would give about that game, I spent a good deal of time during the week, looking at these extended gameplays and stuff. The what do you call it? The communication, the RPG elements where you're in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Very poor, Fallout 4-esque.
Yeah, voice acting did look bad in the trailer and stuff I watched, but then again, I'm not gonna that's not gonna sway my opinion whether or not
right.
As a gamer who's been playing games for decades, I am surprised when I find dialogue that's not terrible.
Kind of, yeah. But yeah, it looks super good, and those giant robot dinosaurs also looked pretty awesome. So.
I love the fact that you could they have these bowls out there. Have you seen this segment yet? They have these bowls, and this is how you do fast travel. Is you go and hijack the bowl. You use your whatever sword that can go into their sort of membrane, and you can, turn it against whoever they are and have it be working for you, and then you can ride on the bowl, and that's how you're going to get around the world.
Yeah, you're like hacking their brain, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and then they're like a steed for you for a certain amount of time.
Yep.
Yeah, that looked definitely really cool. I was impressed.
Yes, I was pretty excited.
And then Cuphead, I'm excited to have it confirmed that will also be on the PC, not just the Xbox.
Right. Play anywhere with Xbox.
So that'll be pretty cool because that game looks pretty out there.
I was surprised that didn't get too much time at the E3 conference.
I think since it was already around last year.
Yeah.
And they don't want to overhype it.
Yeah, I have a feeling when it comes out, it's going to be like an indie darling. Like, it didn't get as much talk, or it's got more talk than like Super Meat Boy did, and then afterwards everybody loved Super Meat Boy. I think it's going to be in the vein of Super Meat Boy as far as popularity goes.
I saw one sort of talking heads sitting around talking about the game, and someone had the fear that they are maybe making it too accessible for people. That,
I think they'll dumb it down too much.
Too many assholes will be able. That's such an elitist thing to say.
They got it sent back. That maybe this is too hard. Maybe we need to add some other content in.
They actually did say that. So I mean that is valid, and that was my worry.
Was that it's just straight up bullet hell boss fight?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. The old hardcore platformer mixed with bullet hell. I mean that would be.
Well, they
hard
had
as fuck.
On the map. They did have like the Castle Crashers-esque kind of overworld map where you could go buy and upgrade your character and things like that.
Cool.
And then the final thing is Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Oh yes,
yes. I watched a lot more extended play on that this week too.
Yeah, I stuck around on the Nintendo Treehouse feed, or the live Nintendo YouTube channel after the Treehouse, I should say, and I watched a few different groups playing through it and just doing their own thing, and it was really cool being able to see how many different takes they were able to go forward with on whatever they wanted to do in that world. Right.
And looks like some news came out this week that the developers for Xenoblade are helping out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's weird that there's a Zelda game with like real physics.
Yeah, that was like that was probably one of the only things I saw at E3 where like literally my jaw was open a few times. Like, I can't believe I'm going to be able to do this in the Zelda game. Like, I don't know about anybody else, but like I really felt like it was a throwback to like, it's going to make me sound old, but like original Zelda and Zelda 2. Like, I saw a lot of Zelda and Zelda 2 in there with like RPG elements, there's survival elements. Like, I'm just super stoked for it, especially since I'm like a survival game nerd now.
Yeah. I'm just hoping that it's not going to be too crazy with inventory management and crafting.
And I was trying to watch, and correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but they didn't seem like they were doing too much of anything with the Wii U gamepad. There was no looking down at it for inventory or a map or anything like that. And I think they even mentioned you could just use the regular Pro controller. So
yeah,
well, I
think that's correct.
What was that? There was a thing they were putting on the shrines. It was almost like a tablet that Link was using. They talked about using technology. I think that is a very big hint as to what the NX is going to be like, because that's how they design Zelda games. They design the stories always secondary. They always design it around their new technology. It's always a showcase of Nintendo new technology and like clever uses. Like every Zelda on the 3DS was always like clever uses of the microphone and the way to close the 3DS and things like that. So I think that's a big hint as to what we're going to see on the NX.
When will they drop that news?
I don't know.
Who knows?
That's what I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait and buy Breath of the Wild on the NX.
Yeah, I would agree.
Same.
Anything else, Joe?
No, that was it.
And Corey, what about yourself? Anything that he didn't mention that you would like to discuss?
I blew my load on Breath of the Wild already. Super excited for Horizon Zero Dawn. We happy few. That made me very happy to see, and I thought it was hilarious to see all these bigger name, press people saying things that we, as a group, have been saying for like 2 years about how like it looks like BioShock, but there's also like Brave New World elements. Like they're saying things that we have been saying for years about that game. So I'm super excited to see the attention I think that game deserves.
Right.
VR, I wasn't too impressed, aside from Farpoint. I think Farpoint looks very interesting. I think that was the most interesting VR thing I saw.
Now, did you see the add-on that you can use with Farpoint?
The gun? Yeah, that
Right,
looks super cool. That I think looks most promising. And I'm looking forward to Sea of Thieves. I never thought I'd be into a pirate.
Fuck that game right up. Fuck that game right up the ass.
Agreed.
You can bend it over.
That game shit in your cereal bowl? What happened?
Oh, they are giving out fake tattoo sleeves for marketing. That game can go F itself in a hot, fiery mess.
Just because the PR firm is doing shitty things.
That game can go
bad.
blow itself.
Yeah, because a PR firm does a fucking stupid, shitty friggin' PR thing there. Yeah, it doesn't. The game looks interesting, but I don't know if it's going to be my thing. It's kind of runs along. I mean, people have mentioned, is it like Evolve? Because you got to get in and play with your friends. Are you going to run into that? That's the issue.
Well, it reminded me of Ark. It reminded me of Ark on pirate ships, because apparently you play on big servers and you can run into other players. Like your ship can see other people's ships, and I'm like, that looks like Ark Pirates. And as you know, I'm super fucking hard on Ark right now, so it looked interesting to me. I've never been interested in a pirate game. I always thought they were stupid, but that got my attention.
All right. There wasn't much Ark news other than it was coming to Windows 10 in the fall, right?
Yeah, and I was told by their name escapes me right now, but the husband and wife group who founded it, they told me that eventually they're looking to try and make it so you can host your own server via a Windows 10 machine, but they didn't know when that was going to happen. So I think with this news, I think that is going to be a new announcement, right around the corner. So I'm looking forward to that.
So does that mean presently, if I own the game on Steam and you're on Xbox One, we can't play together presently, right?
Right. There's no cross-platform as far as the servers go, and I don't know if they're ever actually going to do that.
Right.
So what I'm looking forward to is being able to host an Xbox One game on a Windows 10 machine, because I mean it can be hard in PvP playing people out there. So it would be nice to have your own server. Right now you have to have a secondary Xbox, which you can't do anything else with while it's hosting a game. So it's really cumbersome.
Yeah.
Geez, too bad I'm not in the Ark business. I'd be fucking. Yeah. I'd have plenty.
You could host three of them and still have another one to play.
Yeah.
Now, I got a question for you. Nobody has mentioned Ghost Recon Wildlands. No interest?
Don't care.
Really?
Well, you're talking about Joe and Corey, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all over that. I like white on rice. That looks badass. And the more I hear about it, the better it sounds. So.
Yeah, I think we touched upon that last week. Yeah. It looks daunting to play solo. I think with a group of people, it could be very fun. It's just a question of, are enough people going to be around all the time to play it?
Well, that's why it's
Clancy game, right?
Yes.
What's that?
That's a Tom Clancy game, right?
But no, that looks good. And what I've been hearing from people that and some of the interviews that have been done, that it does scale so that you can go in and play on your own or go in and play with others. So kind of the way Division does. I mean, I think Division did it well. You could go in and play by yourself, or you could go in and play with friends.
Definitely.
And I mean, and that's Ubi, so they made it work there. So I have high hopes for that one.
Okay.
And another question also, did anybody check out Mafia 3? Is it Mafia 3? Because that one had very little coverage, because I think it was actually announced during the PC one. So that's why I've been looking for it.
Well, Mafia 3 has been announced for quite some time. What they did is they had an E3 trailer that came out over the course of the week. Take-Two didn't have their own presser.
No.
Because if they did, they would have something probably for GTA or Red Dead Redemption. But maybe that's why they didn't have a presser, because nothing to announce on those games.
Actually, there was a ton. If you go to the IGN, check out their videos that they did in between and stuff. They have one that's separate. You can just watch the Mafia 3 video. Man, that is going to be some in-depth and really fucking cool.
Yeah, I don't want to get into too much because that's going to go around our question of the week, so circle back to that. Anything else there, Corey?
No, that about does it for me.
Cool. So there's some other items here just to talk about right off the top. Jay mentioned briefly that Xbox still has not given us release dates yet for the 500 gigabyte or the 1 terabyte model. So still biting my tongue on that. But yeah, I'm hoping they're doing right by everybody and releasing all 3 models at one time and not staggering them.
It's just weird that they've still held out on releasing that information, and it just seems like a typical the thing that they've been doing and lack of communication.
Yeah, and I really like Phil Spencer. I think he's a solid guy, and maybe I could take or leave Mike Ibarra. He's often on Twitter retweeting positive things. Everything is sunny in Xbox land tweets. He gets one thing thrown his way, or maybe more than one, and he's like, "Oh, all the haters, I'm going to block you."
You think he's one of the happy few?
And I just asked him I asked him a simple question, hey, anything to report on these release dates? And no response. He could have came back and said, hey, we're still working on it. Thanks so much for your interest. As soon as we hear anything, we'll let you know. Just no response. So, here we are. So we can't pass anything along on that front. And lastly, the Steam Summer Sale is kicking off pretty soon.
Shut up and take my money!
Exactly, with all the VR stuff now. Now that I have an Oculus, I'll be looking at stuff like that. And because I'll be updating my rig to run Oculus, I will also be looking at things like maybe they'll have The Division on sale or Fallout 4 on sale. So this is kicking off on June 23rd. So that's like, in 3 or 4 days. So anybody else excited for the Steam Summer Sale?
Yeah, I mean, especially after watching you play Witcher, and then, like I said, I've been mentioned it previous, the load times. I am very eager to try it on the PC now.
Well, it's been on sale on GOG, I think, $24 or something like that?
Yeah, I want the full one, though. And last time I looked, it was $55, so.
Gotcha.
And I don't know how much I'll play it because I've been playing it on consoles. And I did want to mention on the Xbox One S, if you go to the Microsoft Store, the only one they have for sale is the 2 terabyte, and anywhere else you go, they only have a release date for the 2 terabyte, and the other ones have what they call placeholders for 12/31/16. So,
did you notice that they added a power button, a physical power button to the S that you press in?
I was wondering about that, if it was physical or if it was going to be a capacitive again.
No, it's that little nipple thing sticking out. You just press that in.
Ooh. That's sexy.
Oh, yeah. Now that I'm looking at it, you can see the your sync buttons, your eject buttons. All of them are actual buttons, which is smart.
Do you make it eject by rubbing the nipple?
Yes.
All right, let's move into the community question of the week. And apologies on my behalf, with E3 and just kids wrapping up at school. I totally spaced on tweeting this out, and I only did it today, so we have very few responses.
Damn you, Mike!
My apologies. The question of the week: what was your favorite reveal from E3 this year? And let's read some of the responses that we got. Denny, a beer guy, Loose Screw, of course, from Tap the Craft podcast. Most surprised with the Spider-Man reveal and most excited with the new God of War. Give 2 fucks about Kojima.
Yeah, with that one. I'm surprised Joe didn't mention anything about Spider-Man.
Meh.
Joe.
It looks alright.
Not your thing?
It's Insomniac. I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
It looks like it's probably going to be fun, but there has really not been a good Spider-Man game, so who knows?
Cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, it is hard to get excited about one.
Dan Amrick, formerly of One of Swords, says, "Oh, I know what it was. Oh, never mind. I'm super biased this year." So, of course, he was helping out with the community for the new South Park game.
But that does look damn good.
The fractured butthole.
The fractured butthole.
Yeah, butthole.
And your parents had to fuck.
Shownuff71, and he's from what podcast, Jay?
I don't know.
Play some Gamer
Yeah,
Husbands.
just Gamer Husbands. I'm just fucking with you.
All right. Hands down, the Sword of Berserk announcement from Koei Tecmo. And he has stumped the teacher this week because I don't know what the hell that is.
Ditto.
And he says Spider-Man was a close second. Last two. You want to read? Anybody want to read these?
I can get on this here.
Yeah, I'll take the last one, I guess.
You go for it, bud. You take them both.
I'll take them both. Awesome. All right, now I'm excited. How should I read them?
I missed you.
All right, the pizza guy says the Insomniac Spider-Man game that looks awesome. Hashtag E3 2016. And I agree. I'm excited for an Insomniac Spider-Man game. But like Joe said, it's tough to get excited. But it was tough to get excited for a good superhero movie. You remember that? You remember before the MCU existed? So you never know what could happen.
Good point.
And Rob Dennis at Zaft45 says, "We happy few, South Park, and Dead Rising 4. And for the first time, I find myself interested in a Gears of War title." So,
Is that Gears of War or God of War? We don't know.
Maybe it's God of War.
maybe,
I'm thinking it's got to be Gears because he's an Xbox guy, right? He doesn't have a PS4.
Because if it is
Maybe this-
God of War, I am with him because I've never played a God of War before, and this one really interested me.
And I forgot a few more, so let's add these in. Alex I Sky Kiddo of the 40 Cast says, God of War, God of War, God of War. Don't care when it will release. Xbox One fans can suck my with their no release date BS. Devious Mr. Matt of the 40 Cast says, MLB The Show 17. And then lastly, Ben Charnier says, Xbox exclusives on PC. Everybody, quickly, let's go around the room here, and whether it was on the show floor, not the show floor, whether it was at the big announcements, the pressers, or something you saw, on some other, side channel during E3, everybody's top 3 games. Quickly, Jay.
We Happy Few, Ghost Recon Wildlands, and I'm going to have to throw a Sony one in, and the God of War really has me interested. I like how that they've kind of filled it in, look like they've filled a lot in other than just an angry god running around hack and slash.
Okay. Corey, how about yourself?
in order, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, We Happy Few, and Horizon Zero Dawn.
All right. Joe?
Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Horizon Zero Dawn, and I'll say Resident Evil 7.
Gotcha. For me, God of War is the only game I must need right now. I want that desperately, so that's number 1.
Shut up and take my money!
And then I think the other ones are a toss-up. What I saw from the Mafia 3 trailers this week and the stuff that they showed on some of these showcases and things like that, that looks phenomenal. So I'm going to put that number 2. And I think, it'd be a toss-up to go with something I know I'm going to enjoy, tried and true, like Gears of War 4, or do I want to try something new like Horizon? So those could go either way.
That Mafia, though, really does look good. I mean, I didn't put it in my 3, but that is definitely one of the top that I saw. It's just the reason it didn't really peak for me was because I really didn't find out about it until I ran across that video. Mm-hmm. And it kind of gave me a little bit of a Grand Theft Auto feel.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
What do you guys think about the whole Crash Bandicoot stuff?
Never was into Crash, so for me, and I'm not doing Skylanders ever again, so...
He's quit, he's in recovery, get that out of his face.
Yeah, so that is of no interest. And they're just remastering the first 3, right?
Right.
And so then people are speculating, hey, if they're going to remaster this means Sony and Activision are playing nice. Maybe there'll be a new Crash game.
Yeah. I bet
that could be cool.
I bet it's really dependent on their success if there's going to be another Crash game.
I think after they saw the success of Ratchet and Clank, the remaster, or reboot, I guess you could say,
right.
They're kind of testing the waters with these.
We haven't really talked about that Ratchet game on this podcast too much, maybe just one episode because I played it.
Uh-huh.
But I hear that game has sold phenomenally well for them.
Yeah, I heard
totally exceeded expectations as far as sales.
Yeah, I heard it's really good too.
Fucking shit, though.
Yeah, I heard it's like exactly the opposite of the movie, like incredibly good and not like the movie. But I think I'm pretty interested in Crash Bandicoot. And you guys remember with the PS4 reveal, quite a few years ago, just before the reveal started, they're playing Sony music, and they played Crash music, and, the crowd reacted really well. Everybody get excited for that shit. I think there's a whole generation of people who are very nostalgic for the Crash era of games. So
yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I was just disappointed that all they showed was Skylander shit, because I've never given a shit about that. So
Right. All right, Jay, what is the community question for next week?
The community question for next week is... Where is it? I'm only kidding. What summer release has you most excited? And did you pre-order it?
Okay. I can tell you I have not pre-ordered any summer release, and I have no idea what I'm excited for.
Yeah, we got to kind of narrow it down here, kind of come down off of everything that's been going off these past 2 weeks and start making some decisions.
Yeah, so I guess this will segue into our next segment. I can tell you one game I am excited for is the Lego Star Wars Force Awakens. I got to play that demo, and I got to see my son play that demo, and that is pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a pretty adorable trailer at E3, too.
Right. Yeah. It looks phenomenal. Playing as BB-8 was really cool, so that is on my radar for sure. And my son got a little cashola today for doing so well in school from his aunts and uncles, so he might be putting that towards that, so I won't even have to buy it. And other than that, I'll keep it real simple. Witcher 3 and Witcher 3 Blood and Wine I played this week, making progress in replaying the game again on PC, and then making progress with playing the DLC on the PS4.
So fucking good.
And then last night, The Division, went back in to check out some of the things because Nick was on the show the last 2 episodes and was telling us about the improvements. And so I guess they have this thing now called Search and Destroy. So every safe house has these Search and Destroy missions. You go out, you complete these 3 missions, you get intel, and then you use the intel to do your dailies and weeklies. And so we did a bunch of those last night. It was me and Matt and Alex from the 40cast. I think we might have started around 10:30. Matt was falling asleep by 11:30, so he bailed pretty quickly. And Alex was on day 1 of a day 2 party bender, and so he was going strong for a bit, but it was about 1:45 in the morning, and we were struggling with this last daily mission that I think you needed to get 30 intel points for, or maybe it was 15. All of a sudden there was like long periods of silence, and I don't know if he fell asleep or what was going on there, but we tried to do this mission twice, and I was looking at the map, and he was not even like with me at the mission. He was somewhere else, and at that point I was just like, you know what, Alex, I'm going to bed, and he sort of come out of his stupor a little bit, and I was like, all right, I'll talk to you later. And so that was my experience with The Division last night. And it was pretty cool to see the improvements that they made. It's kind of fun doing those search and destroy missions.
Might try it tonight.
Who would like to go next? Jay?
Well, let's get along with this here. As mentioned, Witcher 3 Blood and Wine, really enjoying that. I'm doing a lot of side missions and stuff and really enjoying that. It is hard. It really is. I mean, there's some sections I hit. Because instead of using fast travels, I'm just going across the land on Roach, trying to get, pick up some of the question marks or just stuff that I may run across. And man, I'm level 43, and I think I ran into a level 47, and man, I got owned instantly. But really enjoying that. That's a lot of fun. This week, Portal 2 and Left 4 Dead and a few others were made backwards compatible for Xbox One, and I have been dying for Portal 2 to come back. So for the past 3 days, I've been playing the hell out of Portal 2 and going back through. I started from the beginning again, and I've been playing that. So really enjoying that. And like I said, my granddaughter likes to watch it, and my wife doesn't mind if I'm playing, in the living room. She'll sit there and watch it because it's kind of funny and the story's interesting. I was able to get my hands on a Lawbreakers beta code, or actually alpha code, and it's interesting. It's a competitive shooter, which is not my thing. I am horrible at it, especially with mouse and keyboard. I have an Xbox One controller plugged into my PC now, and I noticed that it started rumbling while I was playing, and I was like, what the hell? So they actually do have partial controller support in it, but it's only partial. You can't access a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I think most games that do not have controller support have partial. Yeah. Like it's some sort of byproduct of the just the coding. I don't think they probably did anything to give you partial. It probably just is there.
Yeah, but that is a damn good looking game. I mean, I went in and looked, and with the 980 Ti, it's on Ultra, and it looks gorgeous.
It is quite pretty.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of an arena shooter. It is an arena shooter. Again, not really my thing, but I was in there running around. I got a few kills. I don't think I've played it enough to really get a hang of it either. It takes a bit of time to get used to. So I'll probably go back again when they have it again, because I guess they just tweeted out today, if you were in this one, the next one they have open, they said leave it installed, it'll update, and you'll be into the next one too. So once you're in, you're in.
Nice.
Yep. And I went back to Doom tonight to play some of that before the podcast, because I came downstairs to kind of get some things done, and while the wife was watching some television, and I fired Doom back up. And my God, that is so much fun. I was in an area that I kind of got stuck in. You kind of have points on the, that show on your it's not really radar. You kind of have a thing up top, a compass point up top that shows you which direction you should go in and how far away stuff is. And I kept following one. I couldn't figure out where the hell I was. Well, I didn't realize there was a section I had to walk up to a guy and rip his arm off. And I'd gone by him 100 times and not seen that prompt to push the stick in to do that. So I did that tonight and I was able to move on. And God, this game is just so much fun. It's so fast, and it's a lot of fun to play. So, again, playing story mode, not multiplayer. So, really enjoying that. So,
cool. Joe?
Well, I played a little bit more Overwatch. Not too much more to add. They switched the weekly, I guess, I can't remember the specific name of it, but the weekly mode where they have a specific rule in place. And everybody is Soldier 76 in this one. So it's like everybody with a machine gun. And that's a pretty hectic mode currently. And then I did have some connection problems last night for some reason, so that was kind of frustrating. I also got some time into the Resident Evil beginning hour teaser, which is that Resident Evil 7 teaser. And as we kind of mentioned earlier, it's definitely got its PT vibe going on. It certainly took influence from that, and it's very atmospheric and tense, and, they just use a lot of noise to freak you out. And it's funny because while I was playing it, I had earbuds in, and, I couldn't hear anything around me, and all of a sudden Nicole, who's in bed next to me, kind of nudges me, and she's like, "Did you hear that?" And I was like, "No, what was it?" And she's like, "There was loud banging." And there's like a trail behind our house and then a police station behind that. And there's always like some kind of loading and unloading around midnight to 1 a.m. over there. And so it always makes these loud bangs always around these specific times. Like, is it the normal banging? And she's like, "No, this was something new." I was like, "Okay, well, I'm sure it's fine." And I tried to just ignore it and keep playing, and she was really freaking out, so I basically had to do like a tactical sweep of the house. And it was extra tense because I had just like left this fucking creepy world, and that was one hell of a heightened experience because of that.
So I'm guessing you didn't find anything or like accidentally kill one of your children, like when you get jumped.
No, I didn't shoot my kids. Luckily.
Happy ending.
And then finally, Gone Home Console Edition. Everybody's favorite indie darling. So it's definitely a walking simulator, and it was not as creepy to me as it may have been for people who got in on that very first round of that game coming out, because basically, the game's been spoiled all to hell. And so I kind of knew what to expect the entire time, and I guess I just played through it just to see what the whole fuss was all about. And it was an interesting narrative, and all of the music that they play was like Riot Girl music. And my wife is a Riot Girl, so it was fun for me.
So, Corey, what have you been playing?
Mine is super short. Beat Doom, loves the whole game. Last couple of bosses were dick pinchers, but still love the game. Ark, of course, I'm playing the shit out of that in the new Center PvP map. And I finally beat the Flame of the Flood. I went back to it and finally beat that. And that is an amazing game. Highly recommend it. It's like a breath of fresh air among many, many, many boring, stale games. So.
No, I have that. Tell me why I should go back and play it. Because I keep dying in that game, or I can't remember if I was dying or I couldn't remember even, like, figure out where to go next. I go to some...
Well, you can only go one direction. You get on the river takes you. Like, you don't really have a choice.
Right. And then I went to some place, and there was some mailboxes, and there was some, like, rabbits running around that I couldn't kill, and...
Yeah, if you like survival games, play it. If you don't like survival games, I do not recommend it. It's a very hard survival game to play because you have such a limited resource, storage, and you have to manage your storage between you, your dog, and your raft. And I could not get by, like, day 9. It was very hard until you start to figure out the nuances of the game. You're like, okay, I need to do this to get water. I need to do this to get, to sleep. I need to get rabbits and skin them. And once you start to figure out the intricacies of the game, like I hit my stride and I made it to I think it was like around day 40 or so when I finally beat the game. But I went from getting to day 2 to day 9 to day 12, and then suddenly I made it all the way to 40 because I just kind of hit my stride. But it's just a really, really tough game, and the music is gorgeous, and the art style is gorgeous, and it's not like any survival game I've played, so that's why I would definitely recommend it. And it's a really great team who made it. Like a lot of people from bigger studios, like a couple of people who worked on BioShock. I think a couple of Harmonix devs, a Bungie dev was on that team.
Yeah, I think it's a made in Massachusetts game, right?
Yep, made in Cambridge.
Yep.
Nice.
Did you just say dick pinchers?
Yes, he said Doom. The end of Doom was a dick pincher.
Yeah, some of those bosses. The Cyber Demon, that was a bit of a dick pincher.
That should be interesting.
Yeah.
Did you feel like the game padded itself at all? Did you want those bosses like...
The bosses where it was like 2 of the boss that you just fought before. Sorry, spoilers. But that one felt like I could have done without. But I like the Cyber Demon one, and the very last fight, I enjoyed that one because that was one of the old enemies that I had not seen yet. So I didn't feel like it was too padded. I really like the exploration too. It reminded me a lot of the original.
Cool. Now are we ready for the hot seat?
All right.
Yes. Hello?
Oh, hey, Ben.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me? Is this a group therapy line? Did I get the right number?
Why, yes.
We're gonna
sit right down and everything will be okay, son.
Perfect. I'm ready to talk about my feelings and some vaping, and I'm ready to go.
All right, let's roll that music, Corey.
Let's do it.
So, Joe, why don't you introduce who our victim is this week?
All right. Well, we have, as everybody on Twitter may know, this guy as Shaw_near, and I know him as Ben. My close personal best friend has a sister who happens to be his wife, and so I've known him for several years at this point. And I used to be on a podcast that shall not be named with him.
Uh-huh.
And now we're just buddies IRL.
Nice. So, Ben, this is going to be hopefully very uncomfortable for you, but give us the most truthful answers as possible. Corey, why don't you remind him of what the scores are for our past 2 contestants?
All right, so right now we have a pretty empty leaderboard, so you have a good chance of getting on that. Right now we have Sean Quicksilver3355 on Twitter. He is the leader with a 6.5. Followed closely by Matt, who is Devious Mr. Matt on Twitter, with a 5.25.
Ouch.
Let's give Matt a boo right there, please.
Yeah, he wouldn't answer that question.
Thank you.
That's partly my fault.
We love you. We really do love you, Matt.
All right. So we're going to ask you a series of questions, I think 2 from each of us, and then we'll tally them up and see what your score is. Jay, are you ready with the questions?
I think I might be.
All right.
Now, is this true that you are a comics fan?
Yes. Whoa, softball.
No. That was just a lead into it.
All right, gotcha.
So, this comics addiction, does it include erotic comics, and if so, what kind?
Not gonna lie, there are a few swimsuit editions that I have. Joe, you may know the gosh, what are they? There's like Alice in Wonderland and
I'm with you.
Turret Card or whatever. But yeah, it's supposed to be a comic book, but it's just an excuse for TNA. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I do have a few of those in my collection.
Okay, now based off of that, if we were to take your comic reading area and do the black light test, would you pass or fail?
Exactly. That's a failure. I mean, it goes.
So, in case people aren't following along, he jerks off to comic books.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, you know what? You're going to do well as far as scores for me because you answered very honestly.
All right. Who's going next? Is that Joe?
Oh, that was both your questions? All right.
Well, it was said two, right?
I thought that was just
the first
question
one was
with a lead up.
Yeah, me too.
All right, my bad. Sorry for questioning you, Jay.
Yes.
So, Ben.
Yes.
You spent a lot of lonely nights while out on your delivery routes. Mm-hmm. How many different kinds of handheld devices have you used to watch porn?
I think only 2. I wore the first one out, so we had to go to a second one.
Wore it out. Bravo, sir.
Did you get one of those iPad cases with a flashlight built in?
No, that's too costly for my taste.
You're supposed to use lubrication with those.
Oh, that was a problem. That's why it was hurting.
Big penis. So you play a lot of driving games.
Right.
Would you consider it roadhead if you got mouth action while playing one of them? Or just head while playing games? Or would you consider it both?
You lost me at head, and I'm just going to say both because I want as much of that as possible. No, would I consider that? It depends on the setup. If I have a wheel, I got a driving seat, maybe some VR. I think no, it won't count. No, the danger's not there.
That's fair.
Right?
Can I chime in on this one?
I say yes. I want to hear what he has to say.
If you crash, it's roadhead.
Only if you come like mid-crash.
You have to have one of those rumble seats for it to work right.
All right.
So
were those all your questions there?
That's it, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so I guess that goes to me. I'm going to follow up with, you drive a lot for your profession, am I correct?
Right.
Okay, so when was the last time you spanked it while physically driving?
I have to admit, I have not done that.
You have not done that?
I have not done that.
Okay, at least follow up then. Have you at least done it in your vehicle?
Work vehicle?
Yes.
No.
Never.
I'm sorry. No.
Mm-hmm. That's work. That's sacred.
I got nothing. That's my.
You're just covering your ass because you deliver food products.
That's a line you don't want to cross.
What if we can confirm that no one you work for listens to this podcast?
No, I'm not lying to you guys. I haven't.
Do you deliver pies?
Oh.
So maybe you weren't, actually, in your vehicle. You were in your pies.
I'll move to the rim shot there. All right, so I believe you. I can't believe you haven't done it while driving, though. I recommend it. All right.
They frown upon that. They could be
Corey.
fucking sex offender for that shit.
Oh, is that as bad as texting while driving?
Yes.
All right, and I know that the theme so far has been your penis, so I'm going to switch it off a little bit.
Thank
I think every single one has involved that. Now you're a listener, right? I assume you've listened to the show a few times, correct?
Yep. Yes.
All right. Now, if you could pick one of us on the show to kick off of the show permanently, who would it be and why?
Joel State, because he's an asshole.
Yeah, I should have excluded him because I know that you've known him.
Damn it.
Yeah, that was a
I know where you live.
Right?
Well, minus Joe State, I'm going to have to boot you, Corey, just because Mike and Jay are classics.
I'll take it.
All right.
I appreciate that.
Mike?
All right. Let's see here. What can I ask you? What would you, a sexual act here? What would you rather have? Would you rather have the earn your red wings or a little snowball action?
Red wings. I'm not into getting that into my mouth. Red wings. I'd definitely be all right with that. I haven't done it, but
so you'd rather munch on a bloody vagina than taste your own cum.
Right.
All right.
So you'd be okay with it, or if you had to do one of the
I'm not
other
saying I'd be okay with it. I'd consider the two options.
Absolutely. I think for Rewind, you said you were okay with it. Correct me if I'm wrong. I just want to be clear. Which I agree with you, just for the record.
Ditto.
Let's get back to the podcasting discussion here. I don't feel like we've had enough, and certainly some podcast has attacked my credibility this week with Gorilla Talk, and probably have no idea what I'm talking about yet, but you'll probably hear it during the week. So let's just get right to it. If your iPhone or whatever, what type of device you have? iPhone, Android, what is it?
Yeah, Android.
Android. If the Android is getting a little full, the memory is you got some bit rot going on, and you got to delete some things. What is the first podcast that you are axing from your rotation?
I'm currently listening to let's see, probably the B Team podcast. I don't think most of you guys probably listen to the B Team.
Rojas, right?
Yeah. I mean, they're good, but they can. There's a lot of repeated information on there, and they have really long episodes, and they can kind of drag on a little bit. I love them, but sorry guys, you would be the first to go.
So what you're saying is they're awful and we're awesome, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
okay.
They suck completely.
See, for me, it would be Gamers in Beta, because I've already heard it.
Jay, we need all the downloads we can get.
I listen to it for the interviews, Mike.
Okay, but there hasn't been many in a while, so you must really be up shit's creek. All right, let's huddle up here, guys, and get some scores. Jay, since you went first, let's get your score for Ben.
Well, considering the questions that I asked, and I did lead in with it was a little confusing, and he rolled with it. It sounded like 3 questions, but it was just a roll in. So I'm going to have to give him an 8 because, he didn't even flinch for the blacklight test. He's like, nope, failed.
All right. Who's next, Joe?
So, yeah, my turn. Since he's a personal friend...
automatically 2-point deduction, right?
Yeah, I guess. I gotta try and be, not biased, but...
Yeah, we don't want a Gamersgate situation here.
I think he's definitely given us the most honest and well-thought-out answers so far. No offense to the last 2 fellas. I'll go ahead and I'll give you a 7.
All right. Corey?
I was going to give you a solid 8, but A, little hurt, you'd kick me off the show. And B, I'm a little disappointed that as a professional driver, you have not tried to spank it while doing 80 down the highway. So I'm going to give you a 7.
7.
For clarification, does your truck have doors on the side, or is it one of those like UPS trucks?
It does have doors, but the windows do kind of go down a little low.
What about privately, in your own private vehicle? Have you done it while driving?
While driving? I don't think so. I may have.
He drives one of those Chevy Aztecs. Looks like a space shuttle.
The likelihood is high that I have in my personal vehicle.
Oh, you'd remember.
So I guess I haven't.
Well, what if he's not that good at it?
Now it's
forgettable, right?
How are you bad at masturbation?
No, it was forgettable.
I just pictured Jay just disappointed with himself after every session.
I need better armor. He keeps saying at the end.
Well, maybe it's just it's done so much that he forgot. I don't know.
Just rolls over and tells his arm he's not in the mood tonight.
So, Mike.
Yes, I'm going to get there. Very honest questions. I guess Debating here. I'd probably give a solid 7 as well. I was looking for a little, I fornicated with the food I deliver, or you know what? I'm a crazy bastard, and I don't mind, giving my significant other a cream pie and then sucking it out afterwards. I was looking for something like that, really off the wall, but no, we didn't get anything like that, so I'm giving you a 7.
Wow, sorry to disappoint.
That was pretty harsh, yeah. All right, so with a 7, an 8, a 7, and a 7, you are now on top of the leaderboards with a 7.25. Congratulations.
He flatulate himself with a bullwhip, so I give him a 4. Jesus.
I think I gave him a solid 7. That is respectable, and he is the leader of the unmentionables right now. So,
you want to have a bonus question real quick?
What was that?
You want to have a bonus question real quick?
Oh, here we go.
Oh, gosh. All right.
Hey, Ben.
What's up?
So if a complete stranger's kid fell into a gorilla pit, would you dive in and save him, or would you just chalk it up as a loss to society?
No. Well, that's not really how it was going down.
Just write it off as soon as it happens. Fuck that kid and walk away.
The question should be, if your kid fell into a gorilla pit, do you think they should shoot the gorilla, or should you be the one to go in there and save your own kid because you were stupid enough to let your kid fall in the gorilla pit?
Yeah, I would have already been in the pit before they had to make the choice. But, I mean...
How to shoot you and the gorilla.
Right. Exactly.
What are you doing to that kid?
I'd be whipping out the cell phone, taking video of that shit. That's hilarious.
If you jumped in to save your kid, and you had a gun, would you shoot the gorilla?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Even if the gorilla was intimidating.
What if he was unarmed at the time, the gorilla is?
No arms?
Nope. What if the gorilla stuck his hand out?
He didn't have any arms.
Like a peace offering.
Would you
Just
make
handed
it
you
a
some
murder-suicide
bamboos. All right. Well, Ben, we appreciate you making an appearance this week. We have no parting gifts for you, but we are rolling out a new section this week called Shout, and these are the things that we can do without. If there's something that's bothering you that you want to get off your chest, you can certainly stick around and voice your displeasure about something. Otherwise, if you don't have anything, you can say your goodbyes now.
I think we already know what he could do without.
The show?
Masturbating in his car.
Dangerous, man. I don't know what you guys are doing. That is not safe. Stop that guy.
That is, you have to register as a sex offender for the rest of your life. But hey,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
No, I'm good with most things.
Right.
I guess I'll bail out.
All right, Ben. Well, we appreciate it. Thanks again. And if anybody else wants to appear on the hot seat in an upcoming episode, do let us know. You can get us on Twitter at GamersInBeta, or you could email us at gamersinbeta@gmail.com. Goodbye, Ben.
All right, thanks, fellas. Later.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for playing, man.
Well, not really coming.
Yeah.
But...
Jay, look at that. Jay. Your brain let you down there, Jay.
No, that was a dad joke. I used the generator for it, too.
All right, Corey, roll the music.
Come on. All right, sorry.
On what?
On Jay's face.
Ooh. Well, thank you.
Little bukkake. Anyways, so
Gorilla
this is
bukkake.
a little... I don't even want to say this because I was just about to say this is anticlimactic, and I don't even want to go there.
Too late.
But I was really heated about this a few weeks ago, this whole Patreon business. And, I respect the people that do Patreon and offer people... Well, first, let me back up. People who give you a lot of content for free. Kudos to those people. They're working hard. They're giving you a lot of entertainment. That's awesome. If they can serve you up even more entertainment and there's a paywall there to access that and it is quality stuff, no problem at all, right? What I do have a problem with this whole fucking Patreon thing is where people are looking for a goddamn motherfucking handout, all right? It is not my responsibility to give you money so you go to fucking E3 and so you can get a hotel, so you can get a plane ride. You know, earn it like you're everybody else. Also, you know, I generally like Ryan McCaffrey and what he's got going on there with the IGN stuff and the podcast Unlocked, but I don't give two flying fucks if you want a Tesla and that's your lifelong dream, to own a Tesla. So you put out this Tesla podcast. People can listen to it for free. If you like what you hear, you can donate him some money. And why is he looking for your money? Because he said it's turning into almost a part-time job, and because it's his lifelong dream to own this car. Well, I have dreams too, but you know what? I ain't asking anybody for a goddamn fucking handout. So those are the reasons I can do without Patreon.
Mike, did you back him?
Fuck no.
How long has he been alive? It's his lifelong dream.
I don't know.
You want an electric car?
I mean, if I dig out this thing here, shows going popularity. Second, there's the human kindness reason. In short, I need your help in making my Tesla dream come true. I've wanted the Model 3 since I first became aware of it and interested in Tesla 7 years ago. I knew it would be my next car before it had a name, before I knew what it looked like, and before I knew when it would be available. And he goes on, how great would this be? Just think of all the more insight I could provide you if you bought me this car. So, yeah. Those other things.
He does put in there at the end, and I understand you don't give a flying fuck, but he did put in the end there, you know, he says, you don't have to donate this money. I'm still going to continue on and do the podcast and still work toward getting the car. You don't have to, but I would appreciate it. So he wasn't begging for it, but I guess technically, if you've got a Patreon, isn't that the start of the begging?
He's getting $421 a month so far. 87 patrons are giving him a $421, which would be over my car payment a month.
Holy shit! I'm starting a Patreon. There's my car payment. Holy smokes! Pay for a new wheeler too. Yeah. It'll make me happy.
Who wants to go next?
Well, I'm next in line. I might as well get out of the way. Mine's kind of short. It's an issue that we've had in the community lately, I think. Mine is, in short, I put warranty. Well, it's the warranty on an accessory that you pay $150 for. There's been a lot of people, you go out, buy an Elite controller or buy regular controllers. They give you a 90-day warranty on this. No leeway whatsoever. I mean, when they first came out with the Elite controller, they said that this is high-end, better than the originals. It's well worth the $150. And you've got people that are having these things with stick drift and other issues with them. Some buttons are not working or sticking, and the warranty is 90 days. Well, there's some people, 91 days, they have an issue. Not covered. It is a hard line, not covered. It's ridiculous. So I think what we can do without is a piece of equipment that they put out there and only give you a 90-day warranty for when they're touting how good it is and charging you, $150 for a controller is a lot of money. And along those lines, if you get, Scuff is the same thing, 90-day warranty. Because when this started popping up, I took a look at that Scuff and a lot of the others. When you have that thing, it's a 90-day warranty. Scuff controller, you can pay up to like $300. I think it's ridiculous, although I think with Scuff and them, they're probably a little more lenient. But Microsoft is pretty much a hard line.
Yep, and the $200 Gears of War Elite has the same warranty. And I'll just pass this along that our buddy Zaft, 45, who's been on the podcast before, he went to a Microsoft store and presented him with his broken Elite controller, and they gave him a new one.
Yep. And I actually spoke with two guys. I don't remember their names now. They work in the accessories department for Microsoft. They had all the accessories and stuff there, and they said, yeah, they should cover that. Just bring it in. And I'm like, well, who do I contact? I'm like, yeah, just, contact Microsoft. They should take care of that. No.
Yeah. You don't have a Microsoft store near you, so how long
actually, I do. There's they have one in the mall, the main mall, which is about 45 minutes away from me.
Yeah, so it's a hike to be turned down.
Yeah.
All right, anybody else want to contribute to this segment?
Yeah.
I'll go. Oh, go ahead. Are you sure? The thing I can do without is Joe's. No.
Joe's indecisiveness.
No, you go ahead. I'll go after.
All right, well, I'm sick of blanket pop culture fanboys. Stop liking shit just because it's popular. Not everything has fucking cultural value. Just because there's a pop Funko of it doesn't mean that you have to like it.
Are you sure?
Oh, come on. What about pins now? I like to wear pins everywhere. Is that all right?
My Funkos can hear you. They're in the same room. I would appreciate it if you lowered your voice.
I like some pins, but I certainly don't want all of them.
I get all the One Direction pins on my my vest when I go to Disneyland.
Yeah, well, then you're
awesome. I just want to throw that out there.
I mean, you pretty much can be my best friend.
I wear a vest, too. I want to make that clear that I do wear a vest.
Well,
my
I've been wearing
and
a
Beanie
punk rock
Babies are
vest
pissed
for
at you
years.
now.
Pogs. Wow. There you go. There's a throwback to how old all of us are.
I understand what you're saying, Joe. There's people that just glom onto things just because.
Yeah, like, I gotta have every Doctor Who fucking thing, or, whatever other popular thing that pop culture latched onto.
All right, Corey?
I will start by saying probably the last thing the first thing the internet could probably do without is a bunch of old gamers ranting about something. So I understand the irony of our little clip here, but it's fun for us to rant at things sometimes. So but the thing I could do without is well-known IPs being ported over to the VR platform, like Doom, Fallout 4, etc., like we spoke about earlier. It pisses me off. I don't think we need it. I think the marketers and CEOs think, hey, this IP made us a lot of money. Let's bring it over to VR. I don't think it's going to work. I think it's going to be clumsy, just like the Final Fantasy demo looked awful in VR. And I think it's going to sour people in VR. I think it could really sink the platform. So I think that's another reason I'm very excited about Farpoint, is that looked like a brand new thing on VR. So I don't want to see Doom. I think Doom I would vomit in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would be puking your guts out.
Yeah, it sounds terrible. I think as soon as someone plays VR, they realize you can't play this like a Fallout or a Doom. There's the problem of moving around, just like the problem of moving in 3D space that happened when we got to like the Nintendo 64 era. Like, people really didn't know how to do it, and I still think that it really hasn't been figured out. So I don't want to run around top speed like Doom guy, because I'm going to vomit.
And if you do, I want to videotape it, because that's going to be some funny shit.
Oh yeah, I'll have like 3 cameras set up.
Nice.
All right, let's quickly. We got just a few news stories here, and then we'll end this bad boy. First up, GameSpot reported yesterday, the 18th, that the more powerful PS4 Neo will launch this year. According to a new report, Sony's more powerful PlayStation 4, the Neo, will launch before the end of 2016. Several sources have indicated this information to Eurogamer's Richard Ledbetter. In quotes, if that is the case, it'll be interesting to see how developers utilize its resources and whether 4K is really the focus, and we can be equally assured that Microsoft will be watching just as intently as it gears up for its own next-gen rollout. So that flies in the face a little bit of what I mentioned last week, where I thought they would go back to the drawing board on the Neo and come out with something just as powerful or pretty close to the Scorpio. So we'll see what happens in the coming days and weeks. Keep your eye on that. If you are like Jay, or maybe just curious, if you're a doubting Thomas of PlayStation VR, you can now go to retail locations and try out PlayStation VR for yourself. They will be at more than 30 Best Buy and GameStop locations starting on this weekend that just passed, June 17th and 18th. And starting on June 24th, that number will expand to 300 locations across the U.S. and Canada. Anybody going to go check that out?
Yes.
They don't have a Portland one yet.
Right.
I know. I haven't seen one in Portland yet.
I do see Boston and Cincinnati for Devious Mr. Matt. So Columbus, Ohio for the DGG guys.
Matt is probably one of the people that could give the least shits about VR.
Well, they're not going to charge him for it, so he'll be all right.
Now, when this goes up, those are going to be live, right? Those are going to be out when this podcast airs?
Yes.
Now, yeah, I just want to say, any listeners who go to one of these and actually try it out, let us know what you think. I want to hear from people who are trying it out in these settings, especially if it's like your first VR experience.
as the doubting Thomas for the PlayStation VR, go and check it out. And if you think that if you like it, tell me that I am wrong, because I would like to hear that. Actually, I'd like to know that it, maybe it does work for more people, but I'm worried that it won't. So.
Continuing on with the Sony news here, a NeoGAF user by the name of Kyofu has discovered patents for a new DualShock 4 controller with added buttons. Looks like the newly patented DualShock 4 controller has 2 new buttons, both on the grips of the controller, not unlike the 4 new buttons on the Elite. What they are to be used for will remain to be seen. The start and share buttons have been moved to new spots below the D-pad on the left and the primary buttons on the right.
I would buy the shit out of this if they did this, because I hate where the ones are placed now, and I think I agree that a larger touchpad up top would make it a little more useful.
So another thing to keep our eye on. Last 2 things here related to Xbox. A Bulletstorm Remaster is possibly in the works, as screenshots were found on an Xbox One E3 Press USB stick.
Yes, please.
So, really? Is that what we want?
I do.
I know you go over really well. I think it's such an odd story, though, that there was nothing about it at E3 and someone just found it. That's so strange.
Yep, buried on Microsoft's E3 2016 Xbox One Press USB are screenshots for a Bulletstorm Remaster. They don't know if they were hidden on purpose or was it by a mistake. So, and the person uploaded these screenshots to Eurogamer. It looks to be about 4 or 5. I just think where we saw something in E3 with so many new games and then VRs being introduced, the remasters are getting a little long in the tooth, in my opinion. Could be a shout segment down the road. It's definitely a good game. I enjoyed it. I have, I have it on PC and things like that. So I feel like I'm good with Bulletstorm, but if maybe they add something to it, remains to be seen. But
I'd love this. I'd buy that in a frickin' heartbeat.
Well, you can buy it in a few weeks or a few days on the Steam Summer Sale.
I already own it on the PC. It looks about as good as the one on the Xbox. That's why I'd love to see a remake of it. And hopefully that means that they're going to move on and do another, Bulletstorm 2, because I absolutely loved that game.
What were you going to say, Joe?
I think that USB stick looks cool.
It does.
Agreed.
And the last bit of news, Crackdown 3 is confirmed for PC, but it has been delayed to 2017. Many people thought this was their biggest disappointment from E3, that there was no showing of Crackdown. I certainly have to put Red Dead Redemption on top of that list, but would have been nice to see some Crackdown 3 as well.
Yeah, wasn't that shown at last E3?
It was, yes.
Yeah.
Were they pulling a PlayStation, showing the game one E3, and then not even any mention of it the next year? And what the hell, man?
7 years. They'll talk about it, just like Last Guardian.
It got a release date.
All right, so we're going to wrap this up. This is episode 156. Lots of news, lots of opinions. Thank Ben for being on. Any shout-outs, Jay?
No, not really, not this week. Listen to all the other podcasts and give us some, shout-outs on the iTunes and on the anywhere else you may listen to us. Everybody else says, they're doing it because it's going to bring... It don't do shit for us, but it does make us feel good, so please do it.
All right. Joe, how about yourself?
New episode of Trade Waiters just came out. We switched things up a little because one of my co-hosts just had his little baby boy. Aww. And so it's just me and Jaime. And we talk about Hellboy, Seed of Destruction. And then also... a couple episodes ago, I talked about how I did an interview with Joey Esposito because he was doing a Kickstarter for Captain Ultimate, and today that pulled out of almost not being funded, and it got funded. It went through. So 2 days ago, it was only like 50% funded, and then all of a sudden, late last night, it pulled through and it got funded, and now it's going to come to the public. So that's great.
Awesome. Cool. Corey, how about yourself?
I have been slacking in the writing department lately because of personal reasons, but you can follow me on Twitter at Catwood. Follow Bago Games on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram because I told you to and because I run it. So that's probably about it, I think. I don't think I have much for plugs.
Well, I was disappointed I didn't get any E3 nips beyond Indio Techno, so that was a disappointment. And the new episode of the 40cast is out this week, so go listen to that. I guess you can go listen to Dad's Getting Grounded. Those guys giving me a hard time. See what we do about
you
them.
guys. There's my shout out.
That's precious.
Big penis.
Other than that, hey, who's going to cut me off next? We're going to attempt to do some more streaming. I know we've mentioned that a couple times in the past. We're really going to try to get to it again. So Joe, myself, and Jay are going to be doing more. Of course, Corey streams under his Catwood thing pretty regularly. You do like a retro thing usually, right, Corey?
Yeah, when I get to my new house after next week, I should have the setup ready. So I'll be streaming a lot of NES, Super NES, and Genesis stuff.
Yeah. So the three of us, Jay, Joe, and myself, will be doing more stuff. And so you can follow Gamers in Beta on Twitch, twitch.tv, Gamers in Beta, YouTube, Gamers in Beta. And also the other day I streamed to Facebook for the first time, which I found interesting. So be looking for us there as well.
Yeah.
Jay?
Until next time, same beta time, same beta channel. And next time you will hear Mike say... before we cut him off.
Running for my magic. Gorillas in the mist. Running for my magic. Gorillas in the mist. Come down and beware of the black fist. The gorilla straight motherfucking killers in the mist. Take a shot, but you can't horse. Never thought you see some niggas in the force. Don't you give the chorus that shit, cause we ain't made a mess yet. Next rappers is the best shit. Coming real hard, man, bumping in your car, man. Finally caught up with a devil named Tarzan. Swinging on the vine, sucking on a piece of swine. Jigaboo come up from behind. Hit him with a coconut, stab him in his gut. Push him off the tree, he falls right on his nuts. And just like EPMD, I don't like a bitch named J to the A to the N-E. Can't wait to meet her, I'm gonna kill her, cause that little motherfucking cheetah can't hang with a gorilla. Ooh, running for my magic. Gorillas in the mist. Ooh, running for my magic.
Hello, gamers, freaks, and geeks. Welcome to episode 1 of Sunshine Days, the Kool-Aid Hour.